the number of complaints provided was highly edited, and the FDA only investigated 8.2% of their edited total. The FDA report is a shameful representation of how our pets are ignored by this regulatory agency. In late November 2023, the FDA began receiving an increased frequency of adverse event reports about a variety of companion animal illnesses, largely dogs and a few cats, that pet owners attributed to their pets' food. Initially, the reports were mostly about foods made by Nestle Purina in this case, but as publicity and social media discussion increased, so did the array of brands and products mentioned in reports submitted to the FDA. Most of the clinical signs or the symptoms described in dogs and cats included gastrointestinal issues such as diarrhea, vomiting, kidney disease, liver disease, and/or neurological issues such as seizures. Gastrointestinal symptoms were the most common type of report. Gastrointestinal symptoms can be associated with pet food, abrupt dietary changes, or many other factors such as existing health issues, exposure to chemicals or contaminants, consumption of foods or substances without the pet's owner's knowledge, and certain medications. As part of a case follow-up, the FDA veterinarians tried to determine the potential causes of illness through owner interviews, diagnostic testing at the time of the illness, and testing of both opened and unopened food from the same lot as the suspected food. The FDA received approximately 1,300 adverse event reports from a variety of Purina pet food between November 22, 2023 and April 15, 2024. To give it a condensed timeline, in late November 2023, the FDA began to receive an increased frequency of adverse event reports. January 15, 2024, Purina issued a statement, quote, "Pet parents continue to be understandably scared by an online rumor that there is an issue with Purina pet foods. This rumor is false, and we are saddened to see the confusion and fear that it has caused for pet owners," end quote. January 19, 2024, Purina Corporate, quote, had reached out to the FDA Center for Veterinary Medicine, the CVM, regarding an increase in specific complaints and had a meeting with CVM, end quote. February 6, 2024, the FDA contacted Purina, quote, regarding the complaints and potential new hazard, end quote. April 30th, 2024, the FDA finally inspects one Purina plant. Inspection ended May 2nd, 2024. The inspection was classified as a typical compliance inspection and not a for-cause inspection based on adverse reports. July 31st, 2024, the FDA provides consumer with an update to their investigation. What is that conclusion? What did the investigation determine? Well, after thoroughly analyzing pet food adverse event reports, testing open products from pet owners and sealed products from retail settings, and conducting a facility inspection, the FDA has determined the existing evidence does not identify a public health concern that could explain the symptoms detailed in these adverse event reports about Purina pet foods. And the FDA then provided a summary of the investigation. Now, back when this happened, a lot of people on social media started questioning and started bashing Purina about all these adverse effects, and started commenting and reporting on the issue. Now, understandably, people do take sides, those for Purina and those against Purina. Now, just to make things very, very clear, I am not a fan of Purina's ingredients. I do not think that putting sugar or sugar derivatives in pet food is good for your dog or cat. I don't think that rice, wheat gluten, corn or maize are very good in their foods, and I do not think that these foods are very well suited for your pet. However, what I do want to touch upon is the credibility and the standards that Purina will have in their plans. Now, I do believe that Purina is one of the OGs of the pet food industry, if not the OG of the pet food industry, and I do believe that they do agree and comply with all the rules and regulations, and they have their own trading standards that they abide by. They are a multinational corporation, they are bigger than life, and they will have managers on top of managers on top of managers looking at every single video and every single shed of evidence or potential adverse bag of dog food. They will have traced absolutely everything because they have information at their fingertips, and they can easily probably trace sources from all over the world and tell you whether something has been contaminated or not. Now, social media, unfortunately, sometimes can be a bit of a pylon, and some people have very strong opinions for or against a particular topic. I mean, we on this channel have had people advocate very strongly for vegan diets, and we have had people on the channel advocate very strongly for raw diets or even kibble. So we see people advocating for different things with equal passion. But what this report is actually explaining and outlining is that the FDA has inspected, they have thoroughly investigated the issue, they have come up with no foul play or no reason why Purina might have done anything wrong, and that has been case closed. However, some people aren't convinced, like the truthaboutpetfood.com that says this report is little more than smoke and mirrors, meant to give an impression the FDA actually investigated the concerning number of sick or dead pet reports linked to Purina and other pet foods. While the FDA did test some Purina pet foods, they do not disclose which foods they tested. While the FDA did perform an inspection, it was classified as a typical compliance inspection, not an inspection based on a large number of consumer complaints received. The number of complaints provided was highly edited, and the FDA only investigated 8.2% of their edited total. The FDA report is a shameful representation of how our pets are ignored by this regulatory agency. So on the one hand, we had social media influencers telling you something about Purina, telling you to potentially be concerned about Purina. We then had an investigation by the FDA and by Purina themselves, who claim no foul play. And then we still have people questioning the veracity and the thoroughness of the investigation. What's absolutely clear about all this is that people have different opinions, and that recalls affect so many people who can now type into a keyboard and express an opinion wherever they are in the world. And this is one of those instances where I would like to ask you a question and to ask for your own opinion. Do you agree with the FDA investigation? Do you agree with Purina? Do you agree that Purina pet food is safe or unsafe? Have you had any adverse reactions to Purina pet food? Did you contact Purina? Did you contact the FDA? What happened when all these news or potential recalls from Purina started appearing on social media? I would be very curious and interested to know what you think. And by the way, whether you are for or against Purina products, I think you should know the truth about veterinary prescription diets. And if you are really curious about this all, I highly recommend you watch this video next.